arguments, class quizzes, exams, games.
Once you saw my search history.
Okay. Jesus Christ. Sooner or later I would fall in love.
So could you guys describe your process in 3 words?
Overthinking.
Overthinking. Messy.
Experimenting.
I'm still thinking about my 3 words.
Okay.
Enjoyable.
Play.
Game.
Challenging.
Difficult.
Spiraling.
Spirals.
Why? Exploratory.
And nice.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, so choose 1 word and just elaborate on it. Yeah.
Spiraling. Because we overthink a lot in a way, which is good, I think. Because our spiraling is really about why do we do this, how do we do this, and we think a lot, and it's all part of the process, which is great. And sometimes we do get out of it, but it takes a while. I find it very fulfilling. I don't know, the whole like, oh god, I'm stuck. What to do? No, why? But it's really fun. I mean, I always get a headache after that, but it's fun, and we learn a lot.
I guess play, because it kind of relates to the other 2. I think like our group in general likes to think a lot about things and like overanalyze. I think it's part of maybe the nature of the work as well, that it's meant to be like an academic response. It's meant to be a performance research, right? So there's a lot of thinking. Before we even put it on its feet, we've sort of like discussed and bashed through all the ideas and like also critiqued all these ideas. And so as a result, we tend to get very stuck in our heads. And I think the most productive moments, like the best parts, came from just like playing and just saying, it's okay if this doesn't make it into anything. Just get out of our heads. Let's just play a game.
How do you think that impacts, I guess, the collaboration and the way that you work, seeing that you guys really think through a lot of the things that you do?
For example, if we were to start our meeting from 12 and we would end at 6, 12 to 4 will be probably just talking. And then 4 to 6 is actual going through the process. Something like that. Because it shows that we are very thorough in thinking through the process, and we have people in our team who put in a lot of ideas and thoughts into the process, which helped our team to build upon these ideas. Like if you see our performance on stage, every single thing has a reason for it. Like every single, for example, action, things we use, it's been through a thought process.
Could you elaborate on your role in a group and your group dynamics?
As a group, we're very different, we're very diverse, we have all different sets of skills which we bring to the table. So like, as you know, Selena and Ella are very movement based, Ella and Jet can write, Victoria can sing, I have some background in music, but most of the time I guess I'm just there to bring things together in a sense. I wouldn't really say director of drama because I have no experience in any of this, I have no idea what the jobs entail, but as in I'm much more of like the big picture guy, trying to think of various overarching structure, always thinking of what the conventions that we're taking, etc. etc. I guess that's kind of like my role in the thing. I think we very much complement each other and play to our strengths, even though a lot of the times these can be very contradictory, because like for example Ella and Jet, I'm sure they'll tell you they hate each other's writings respectfully. They're very different writers.
So we occupy 2 ends of the spectrum on like script writing, and we embody like what we hate about each side of the spectrum.
Oh, I see.
Yes, I'm very entertaining.
This is...
But they understand that, right? They understand that, yeah, we have 2 very different styles, which is fine, and we try to make something work from that. So yeah, I guess part of my job is also like managing like these various like tensions and contradictions, trying to bring it together.
You guys have had many iterations,
yes,
especially at the beginning of the process.
Yes.
I guess that comes with the throwing things on the wall and see whether it sticks.
Yeah.
So what made this stick?
It was really after the first presentation, after we got the feedback that our idea was too cinematic.
And cinematic meaning, what we took from it is that, you know, the best version of what we wanted to stage would be on the screen. They were just staging on the stage because we had to do it on the stage. It wasn't optimized for the stage. Because it was very narrative, it would be very touch and go. Especially within 20-25 minutes, we just couldn't get into the depth of things.
And then I think we like how it feels like a stage production. It feels like it's meant for the stage. And I think that gives us like a more assurance.
So, what did you like about your current iteration?
I was initially very drawn to Too Fino, Too Furious, but then I think that was a part of me that felt like the easier choice that I could return to if it needed, but there was no coming back to this option. This felt something that I think felt more like it would be from us, and a more almost as if we owned it a little bit more. Like we owned the characters, we owned the words. I felt more responsibility with this, I think.
This is just something that I know from you
Yeah.
personally. Why are you so concerned with stories about queer women?
In a lot of stories, like in the media, TV, movies, like the queer woman always dies, there's some plot device. The sexuality either comes from some trauma or some, I don't know, it's not really delved into. There's a lot of stories, like even in Singapore, like theatre, there's a lot of queer men stories as opposed to queer women. And when I say queer women, I include like trans women and non-binary. And a lot of other voices kind of disappear. And as a woman, I'm interested, and as a queer woman also, I'm interested in the voices of and stories of queer women themselves. And how do we reclaim this narrative? How do we talk about them?
I think just now you talked about how you wanted the response to be responding to, I guess, binaries, right? So the heteronormative standards that the play still locks itself into. So how do you think that has perhaps impacted the casting?
I guess we sort of like looked at what each like actor we had at our disposal and like what their bodies would communicate, and especially in relation to each other, and what would be the most, in the sense, like believable, or that chemistry would make the most sense. I think partially because of how well Victoria can sing, it made sense to use her and her voice as sort of a motif of like of religion and music, because as well the fact that like gospel music is very sort of vocally dominated. I think we all sort of bring in from our own perspectives as well into the character, so I think that probably helped a little bit with the casting. And I think at some point as well that we were afraid to make any commitments to decisions, so we were like, this is fine I guess, until we change our minds, and we just never changed our minds.
What has been your favourite part of the process?
Favorite?
Yeah.
Wow, it's been so difficult though.
Give me some time, I need to think about this.
Okay.
Oh, I really like the devising process. I really like going there and just being able to play with them. I mean, like, we rehearse a lot, but while it's tiring, but it also feels like play.
It reminds me that, you know, I'm allowed to have that fun, and that like even though this is quite a serious and big project, and like there's a lot of course of weight on it, but like it doesn't mean that I can't have fun with it as well.
I think it's really the spiraling, honestly. Oh!
Manual.
Who started the most? For some weird masochistic reason, I like that part. When I spiral, I will always be on the floor, right, Dennis?
Spiraling is good, but don't do it too much. Sometimes you just have to trust yourself. Trying to go with that instead, finding, you know, pleasure and productivity even in spontaneity. Spontaneity, right, I guess. It's been really very fun, because theatre it's very collaborative, I think more so than other mediums. It's just very fulfilling to be able to interact with other creative individuals and create something together. I think that's just really been a lot of fun.
I think the dynamic is what I enjoy the most.
If you see our team members, we are very diverse, and learning how to incorporate the ideas into the play can be quite fun, challenging, and interesting. I think our team members are they work very hard into the entire process, and I really appreciate their effort, and I want it to be shown on the stage. And I think that's my biggest hope right now.
What are your biggest concerns for the piece?
We end up reinforcing what we are trying to dismantle. That is my biggest fear. Ultimately, our show does nothing but to reinforce and reenact what is one of the massive hurdles for me in rehearsal as well. It's just like, but is it doing that? Is it?
The hardest part is over. because I would think one of the hardest part is actually coming up with the piece, the characters, the relationship between the characters, things like that. It can really bring about some spiraling experiences. But we have fortunately gone past that. So right now I'm looking forward to the process where we are actually rehearsing the piece, and we hope to show a very well thought of piece.
I think the fear is always that it's hard to read.
I mean, Dr. Lun said we need to teach the audience how to receive our play, and so that's been like nagging in my mind for a bit. But like for me, honestly for me, I'm just like, who cares? But obviously, I cannot think like that. How much of that connection can we achieve? I think that's one of my concerns, because right now it's a bit, abstract in a way.
But I hope that I hope that I think it'll get better. Yeah, I think we'll get there. Yeah.
With this whole COVID-19 situation, we thought that it would only be fitting as documenters to ask our company mates how do they feel in regards to it and its new limitations, shedding some light on how it has impacted their process. The rest of this video will be footage our friends have kindly recorded by themselves because of SHM.
How I feel is that I feel robbed in a sense, because I was really looking forward to having an external production, right? Because this is my first ever production that's not an LT13, and I don't get to do that. It sucks, of course. How this has affected the process, I think we've definitely learned how to compromise.
I think a big one would be sort of the regulations in terms of what is, I think, socially responsible to do. The biggest one that I think affected me the most was distance between fellow actors. I think because our process had relied already so heavily on sort of physical connection, I think initially had a lot of reservations about it, and I was a little bit afraid of sort of do a disservice to the work. But we were still very much like, okay, it's fine, see what happens out of it. I'm actually quite happy with one of the scenes that came out of the sort of 1 meter mandate that happened.
Celine and Ella came up with the whole TheraBand thing. I think everyone feels like that was a stroke of genius.
Sort of what we had come to with that scene in the end, I actually enjoyed it a lot more than what we had originally settled on. The group had sort of talked about how it would go about theatricalizing Zoom.
How to do a Zoom performance, right, and still have that element of liveness, but there are also elements where I think we know that we have to stand firm, that yes, this does require human contact, yes, this does require liveness.
I think what I've been thinking a lot about in terms of trying to motivate myself to keep going, I think art always finds a way to persist. I think there's still some value in trying to continue on even in the circumstances.
It's okay that, it might not be the best thing now, but there will always be another opportunity. One day we will be able to present this in front of an audience, just not yet.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Of course, that's your favorite part!